Greetings everyone, welcome to my sketchbook. When I woke up this morning, I fully expected to see snow, and someone told me that I think we were expecting some overnight, but didn't show up. You know what, although fall is my favorite time of year, I am looking forward to seeing some stuff related to spring, and so I see this funny little thing, a little terracotta pot. I'm just kind of thinking about, I wonder if I could get something to grow. Here I have a grouping of markers. These are acrylic markers, and maybe for fun I can make a little version of this. Okay. Well, let's start off by zooming in perhaps first. Is that too close? Let's go to here, and we'll find something to focus on. That seems interesting. Well, now, of course, there would be more like shade underneath there. Maybe a little bit of shade along there. These are interesting markers. I don't really use them that often. They work well on, like, if you were going to draw on sneakers, or that side should be a little bit more rounded, I think, just because I think it would look better. So, well, that's a little pot, I think, for fun. We'll let the color kind of saturate a little bit more, I think. I'll just remember that I want one side to have a bit more shade than the other. So let it be a little streaky. Okay, I'm going to set this other thing aside. What is going to grow out of this? Well, let it be green, of course, but there's a light green here. Oh wow, that's on there. Hee hee. Still a little bit damp. What could this be? And we can't let it get too far out of hand, otherwise we have to repot it. Okay. Let's fill in a little bit of that. I'll set this aside for a moment. Do we want very bright? Do we want this to be semi-realistic? Well, I don't know if I'd say that's realistic at all. Let's go with this sort of pink. And we'll just see what a little dot looks like. I'll put another one there, maybe a little one there. Okay. What if we went to purple next? And we just kind of put some little waves around some of these. I'm not trying to draw anything in particular. Almost like little star heads, maybe. Just kind of looping them around. Okay, well, it's growing, I guess. What is this, white? Well, what if we... You know what? We're not going to see anything if we use white there. What if... Let's go back to green, I think. Oh my goodness. Slight little twist, I suppose. I'm just going to maybe put like leaves. I don't know what I'm doing here. The green in plants is from chlorophyll. This is how plants collect solar energy. But I don't know what I'm doing with this. Again, I'm not trying to draw anything in particular. I'm just kind of drawing. I don't think I particularly like this very much, if I'm being honest. Well, you know what? Let's get out this pen and some ink, and maybe we can add a little bit of, I don't know, detail to it somehow. Not that that will fix anything for our little alien plant. Just trying to grow in a springtime that's a little harsh. You ever wonder about how people discovered the use of certain medicines? You think that they observed the animals and the animals were snacking on things, and they're like, okay, well, maybe this is a food source. And then someone would say, well, when I ate that, I felt itchy, or I felt better because my throat was sore. And you're like, oh, well, that's good. Keep that in mind. I just kind of wonder about that stuff, you know, like how much trial and error happened. You know, so and so at some point decided to take a bite off something. It's like, well, that did not benefit that person very much. Write that down, everybody, or try to remember, don't eat this thing. I suspect a lot of it was that kind of stuff. The foraging, I should say. Forging is like, you know, when you're shaping metal. Some of this seems a little too green, so I'm just going to streak that out a little bit. I don't always get to walk in the woods, but sometimes I do. I like the woods. And depending on where you are, you have to be pretty careful, depending on what kind of animals there are. If it's mainly like deer and chickadees, they're probably not going to try to eat you. Other places, well, much like the way people used to test out plants, I wonder how many animals are like, well, here's an easy meal. Let's see what this tastes like. And they'll go, oh, this person eats too much fast food. I'm not into this at all. Or if they're like, I just got to get through the day, you know. I don't think that sort of circle of life moment is really worth it, to have some creature chew on you. I do like animals, but I don't need to be in the food chain. So right now I'm just adding in a little bit of detail to make this a little more tolerable for whatever this is. Maybe it's echinacea. Maybe this is something that grew on the side of a mountain somewhere. That's interesting. Little one here. Okay. Now, a little bit of detail, this little tiny pot. You don't have to outline all of your drawings, by the way. It's okay to leave things as the color would indicate. You don't have to. I often do. I think I'm kind of influenced by not having coloring books when I was a kid. For us growing up, we didn't really get coloring books. A blank piece of paper was amongst the most valuable things. So like a crossover of superheroes didn't really happen. I mean, there's licensing agreements with a lot of those companies where they don't really play well with other characters. So if you wanted Superman and Iron Man hanging out together, well, you didn't really get to see that. It's kind of like in those Marvel movies. You had to have an agreement between Disney, who owns Marvel, and Sony, who owns Spider-Man. You had to have an agreement to have the characters in those movies. So it's a strange thing. But DC and Marvel, they don't usually mix unless there is a crossover agreement. But it does happen every once in a while. Sometimes they give a famous artist with one company a shot at doing something with one of their IPs, as they would call it, the intellectual properties. I think they even gave Stan Lee a shot at Superman, just for his take on what he thinks could have been. I forget if he kind of made Superman to be a little bit more of a gray character. I'll have to look that up. I think I might even have bought the comic, but I don't think I read it. I think it was called Red Sun. I think the premise was that instead of landing in, Kentville, Smallville, sorry, not Kentville, instead of Kentville, instead of arriving in Smallville, he would have landed in Russia or something like that. It's an interesting idea. So he was raised to, show more strength than anything else and just be different. Well, I think that's a neat little plant for a doodle that I wasn't really expecting to do. Yeah, well, I think that's going to be kind of it. I'm not going to bring out brush and water. We're going to let it be just kind of like a more overhead light. And that way I don't have to cast a shadow one way or another. It can be mostly just underneath in a line. But we'll go out as wide as the plant dictates that we should. So more of an overhead kind of thing. Well, I think that is it. Not so complicated beyond that. I think we'll do a different sort of thing tomorrow with tomorrow's doodle. So yeah, I guess I'm looking forward to spring. All right then, folks. Thanks for hanging out for a minute or so, and hope you have a wonderful day. All right. Ciao for now.